What's going on, people? Thank you for watching the live. This is the OC Street Files Live. Let me know if my audio is good. Thank you for joining me. Make sure wherever you're at, if you're on Facebook, make sure you actually heart the live, share it. If you're on YouTube, share it. Give me a thumbs up. Like I said, this is the OC Street Files. Hopefully my audio is good. I don't know if my guest came in. I'm waiting for my guest to come. Got a co-host tonight, LA 50K. If he joins me here anytime soon, he'll show up. He'll show up. I think he'll show up. Anyway, OC Street Files Live. I'm going to get right into the topics. I know I should have an intro and everything. It's been kind of a busy day for me. But I do have some interesting topics today. I have some interesting topics to go over today. First, I don't know if you guys heard this story, and I don't have his name right now, right in front of me, but professional cornhole player. He's a professional cornhole player, and what he did was, let me see. Oh, no, not yet. Okay. Professional cornhole player plays cornhole. I don't even know where this came from. Where somebody plays it professionally. But yeah, professional cornhole player. No arms, but he has from the elbow down, and no legs from the knee down. Anyway, he was driving. He was driving a car. And she had some friends, and there was an altercation, a violent altercation, physical altercation. And even in that aspect, I'm quite curious as to what really happened. What happened? How do you have a physical altercation with someone who doesn't have any arms or legs? I don't know. And I have all, in my mind, I'm my imagination, I create these scenarios of what could have been going on, because I'm thinking, like, if I'm having a physical altercation with someone that has no arms, then what I would do is probably just, give them a stiff arm or something, and kind of hold it down, like, whatever. But there was a physical altercation in this confined space in this car, and the amputee somehow pulled out a gun and shot the passenger in the passenger seat. Now, he is able to actually shoot a gun. I saw it. I went back and watched the video. So obviously he has at least one appendage, a thumb or something. He has something that gave him the ability to fire this gun. But what I'm thinking myself, and I don't know, let me know what you think. What I'm thinking is, how does he have time with no hands and only this nub and this appendage to actually get the gun out, position the gun, and shoot someone? I just don't. Well, maybe I don't know. I'm curious as to how that happened. I can't wait until more of the story comes out so that I can get an understanding of what really happened in this situation. I just want to know. I am curious. So again, like I said, make sure you like it, share the live. If you came in late, again, this is a story about amputee, professional cornhole player who shot and killed the passenger in his vehicle. Now, the argument is going to be, in this confined space, there's a mix of fear, but potentially there was also ego, and maybe he just lost control, right? But I think the issue that's going to come up in this particular case is self-defense. He's going to say, well, I felt that I was in danger. And I'm wondering, honestly, does he have a better argument than other people? You know what I mean? Does he actually have a better argument? Than most people, due to the fact of, his physical impairment. Um, I can't really defend myself the way I would like to. So I wonder, I guess it's going to be about who was the aggressor. Who was the aggressor in this situation? Was it the passenger who got shot? Which, if that's the case, then it makes a lot of sense. Maybe he did, when he was, however the physical altercation went, maybe he just wasn't prepared for him to actually pull out the gun and being in that confined space. And however you were maybe possibly attacking him, he was able to. But let me say this: if he was actually acting in self-defense, then I don't know, that what happened after he shot his passenger would have happened. I don't know if he would have went and just, dropped the bodies in somebody's front lawn. I don't think that would have happened if he felt that he was acting in self-defense, especially due to the fact that there were other witnesses in the car. Two people, like I said, there were four people in the car. The amputee guy, when he was driving, you had the passenger and you had two other passengers in the back seat. They actually jumped out of the vehicle and fled and flagged down police. So if that's the case, I don't know if he has a self-defense case. I don't know. If you're just joining me again, talking about the amputee, if you haven't heard, I think his name is Derek or Dayton Weber or something like that, professional cornhole player, amputee, who shot a passenger in his vehicle. And like I said, it was in a car, which is a confined space, and it's actually one of the most dangerous places to have a conflict because it's such a tight space. And if you don't have an escape, because there's not, an escape, you can't just, especially if the vehicle is moving, you can't just jump out or whatever. So I think the tension may spike in that situation. But again, I say as an amputee, I think to me, he would be more vulnerable, if that makes sense. Let me see if my guest has shown up yet. Don't see him yet. Let me see. Don't see my guest here yet. Maybe he'll come on eventually. But anyway, I think as an amputee, you are more vulnerable. And so you may even have a higher threat perception. That makes absolute sense to me, to be honest. Because I'm imagining if I'm trying to defend myself, I mean, how does a person with no arms really defend themselves? I don't know. I don't know. Or was it just an overreaction? Did he overreact to the situation? However it went, someone would have to. I can't wait until the actual more of the story comes out, because I'm still curious as to how did he manage with these nubs and thumbs, just one appendage, to get the gun out, maneuver the gun, and without the passenger. Like, were they drunk? Because maybe if they were drunk, then it makes sense that, you caught me off guard. There was altercation. I thought everything was good. And then I don't know. But I'm wondering, and I have to ask you, do you feel that as an amputee and having that vulnerability, will he actually have a better self-defense? Personally, I say that he does. I believe that he does. That's just my opinion. I believe that he does. Because again, I'm trying to envision how he defends himself from someone attacking him. And I don't know how he does it. How do you even get leverage to defend yourself? But again, it's crazy, because if you were not the aggressor, I don't see the passengers just jumping out the vehicle and running and then I don't see you dumping the body on the lawn. Um, I guess, and the question is, does it really matter who escalated it? But more so, this is the question I want to ask the audience. I want to ask you guys: do you feel that the law should consider his condition when we come to his charges, sentencing, this case in general? Do you feel that him being an amputee, being physically impaired, and everything should weigh in any way on the decision of the court or the jury? I guess it would depend on, again, the facts of the case. That's what it would depend on. Let me see if my guest has arrived. Oh, no, has not arrived as of yet. Um, so anyway, I did a story recently. I did a story on, there was a federal indictment from Houston. Four people just got indicted for what's called jugging. Now, if you haven't heard about this, and to me in Houston, I did another story about the Kick Dough gang, right? I don't know if you heard about this Kick Dough in Texas, especially like in Houston, stuff like that. What they do is they just go around kicking doors in, home invasions. They kick a door in, run in, whatever. To me, it's very risky to just be kicking random doors in and going in robbing people. So they have this other hustle, and you have to consider, is this a hustle or is it just lazy, being lazy, the laziest way to get some money. So anyway, jugging is when people watch ATM locations. So they watch ATM technicians, people going to the ATM, whatever, and then they rob you. Now, excuse me. Now, when you look at it, they had an instance where they say it was about 20 seconds. It took about 20 seconds to rob somebody, right? And they robbed them, and they got $150,000 in 20 seconds. That's a nice come up, right? Now, I'm not condoning any criminal behavior. I'm not condoning it, and I guess you still you're putting people under duress when you rob them. You're using guns, handguns, stuff like that, and so you have the threat of violence. And so that's never a great way to go about getting any money. Any criminal activity is not a good way because you risk your life, you risk jail time, things like that. But I think that in the mind of the people that were jugging in Houston, the idea is that very quickly I can get a lot of money, right? Very quickly I can get a lot of money. And I don't know if that's desperation or is it just, struggle greed? Is it just people being greedy? I'm curious. Oh, you know what? Never mind. Well, I would ask you if when you go to a bank, are you actually watching your surroundings? Are you watching and seeing what's going on? I wonder. But there was a case right here in Rockford. I'm live streaming from Rockford, Illinois. 10 years ago, I'm with a nonprofit called Fathers Against Violence, and we were actually, marching, for justice for a gentleman who lost his life named Javon, right? 10 years later, the Metropolitan Security Officer who shot and killed him was convicted of first-degree murder, right? Now, I'm happy that justice has been served. Now, we don't know. I haven't checked again since I heard about it as far as the sentencing, right? I don't know what his sentence will be. But if I had to play devil's advocate, if I had to play devil's advocate, and in this particular, looking at this particular case, I thought that first degree murder meant that it was premeditated, right? That would be first degree murder. Now I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure, but I'm almost positive that first degree murder requires premeditation. Now, in this particular event, I don't see how they actually made that argument of premeditation. It was pretty much, I guess, there was a situation in Auburn Manor in Rockford, Illinois. This gentleman ran; these metropolitan security officers ran after him, and in the process, there may have been a struggle or whatever. The gentleman was shot, right? But first degree murder, I don't think that it meets the requirements for first degree murder. I can see second degree murder. You know, first degree murder is to me somewhat of a stretch. That's just my personal opinion. But I'm definitely happy that the family has got justice. His family has got justice. Even the other people in Rockford who were wanting justice to be served got some kind of justice. Now I don't know. There was another gentleman that was involved. I'm curious as to what will happen in his particular case because he was charged as well. So I wonder what will happen there. But anyway, make sure to like the live and share it for me if you don't mind. Still waiting on my co-host, but I got to keep it moving as usual. I got to keep it moving. Keep on moving, don't stop. There was a time when those songs there were, remember CC Pennant, what is it, Pennington or whatever? Finally, it is. All right, I'm getting off topic. Now, I've had a lot of people reach out to me about the Miami Correctional Facility in Indiana, right? A lot of people have reached out to me about it, talking about its inhumane conditions, the isolation that they have, discrimination, racism, all of these factors. They recently expanded to hold ICE detainees. Now, I talked about this before on a previous live. I've even done some videos on it. If you don't know this, ICE as an institution or agency is run by the GEO Group and Civic Corps. These are corporations that have private prison. They're a private prison corporation. Now they actually gave finance Trump's campaign. They gave him, I think, about $2.5 million, right? In return, he gave them all of the ICE contracts. All of the ICE contracts, not only for the prisons or the institution, the facilities, but also they are the ones that hire the ICE agents. They are responsible for that. So this Miami Correctional Facility has opened up, expanded to include ICE immigration detainees, right? ICE detainees. Now, anytime a private prison, anytime that prisons are privatized, they focus on profit. That's what corporations do. You have shareholders. You want to make the shareholders money. You want the stock to increase. Things like that. So, in order to do that, and I've done a story on this. I did a speech on it and everything. If you go to YouTube and look up, what is it? Prisons for Profit, Bosco Hoover, you'll find it there. But anyway, when you start having these private prisons, they are in it to make money, and because they are in it to make money, they will cut corners. You'll have staffing shortages. They'll remove programs. um, all types of stuff. The food will be terrible because they're in it to make money. Now, because they are in it to make money, and you have these staffing shortages, then the it becomes more more dangerous, not only for the staffers, but also for the inmates or the prisoners who are in these private institutions, right? And so that's what they're saying. Not only is there violence and drugs, with this staffing shortage, um, but again, there's inhumane conditions for everyone there, including the staffers. And I don't think a lot of people realize that um, it becomes and that's why this year, in 2026, there's been a whistleblower. Blower. I said a whistleblower. A whistleblower. Let me see if my co-host has decided to show up. I never know if he's okay. But there was a whistleblower this year talking about the abuse, the neglect, in extreme conditions there at the Miami Correctional Institution, Miami Correctional Facility in Indiana. And that's interesting, that you would have a staffer that would leave and then make those complaints, or, to whoever they made those complaints to. So I think it's necessary. I don't know what needs to be done, but I really want to help the people who are at the Miami Correctional Facility in Indiana. I don't know what I need to do, or what steps I need to take. Um, but I definitely feel like something should be done. You know what I mean? Um, because a lot of times when you're in those positions, I have been in prison before, and I know how it feels, where you feel like you have absolutely no control, and people, they're doing whatever they want, pretty much, and you can't even fight back like you would want to. You know what I mean? Um, and so and I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to figure out a way that I can help those people there. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do something. Either I'm going to write, or I'm going to go there and do a documentary. Maybe that's what I'll do. My next vacation that I take from work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to wherever the Miami Correctional Facility is located. It's probably in Miami. It might be in Miami, Indiana. That's quite possible. I'm going to go to Miami Correctional Facility, and I'm going to do an expose, a documentary on that particular facility. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Because even though, and I talked about this before, it makes no sense that the United States does not care for its prisoners the way other countries do. I think it's a travesty that we don't. And I understand that it's supposed to be a place of punishment. Believe me, anytime that your freedom is taken away from you, you are being punished. But at the same time, I believe that it has to be a place of rehabilitation. I think that you have to um, have those programs available. I think that treating people like humans goes a long way. You know what I mean? Providing those programs, providing uh, counseling, times when they can sit down and talk about the issues that they face. And it's interesting that what they want to do is, for I guess maybe for people that they feel like may have the best outcome from, you know, participating in certain, and that's even in minimum institutions, you know. some people just don't have the opportunity that other people have. They have this thing where they do this point system. They say, how many times you were locked up, if you had any tickets before, and all of this stuff. And so you lock some people in, even if some people wanted to change. You may not, be affording that opportunity to people because of their past. You know what I mean? And I think when we look at society, we're talking about crime. Um, I've learned that there are a number of underlying factors that make people choose to be involved in criminal activity. Whether it's a felon who has a gun and they're not supposed to have a gun, but we're not looking at the fact that if he's caught without a gun for something that he's done in the past, he may, be harmed. So we don't consider that. And if a person is a drug addict, and so they're always stealing. You know, I think that the judicial system in the United States spends more money post conviction than they do pre conviction. So it's like if you go to the hospital and you have they find out that you have a disease, they start treating it. You know what I mean? When if you were going before, they could say, hey, your cholesterol is getting high. You need to change your lifestyle. You know what I mean? And I think that with crime in the United States, and it could be all around the world, but I'm speaking specifically on the United States. I just think I don't think that we actually attack the disease. We attack the symptoms. You know what I mean? And I think that if more money was spent, but a lot of times I don't think that some people, people are going to be upset with me when I say certain things. But it's just me being honest. I don't think that the majority of people who are in the United States are white, right? And it seems that they take care of each other. As a majority, they take care of each other. And things don't really become a problem, or they don't try to attack the disease until it affects them, if that makes sense. When it becomes the opioid problem and it's affecting white America, then we have to stop opioid from coming in here. If it's fentanyl, it was killing black people, hey, lock them up, bury the bodies. You know what I mean? But then when it starts getting to white America, it's like, oh, we need to stop all fentanyl from coming into the United States. And so I don't think that the United States, and it's becoming a little more obvious now that Trump is president. It's becoming a little more obvious how people really feel. And even if it's not a majority, if we say, okay, it's 30% of the United States who has those sentiments, that's still a lot of people. And they are in positions in all places in society, whether they are, police person, or a judge, or a doctor, or a teacher. or your coworker or whatever. But I also understand. I also understand that as far as us, we have to do something. There's a responsibility that we have uh, to do something. We have to do something. Um, I try. I try. I don't know if I try hard enough. I don't know if I try hard enough, to be honest. I try to lead by example. You know, I've been to prison. Um, I've even had enhanced charges where they were going to give me a lot of time. You know, um, because of all my arrest and everything. And I know the obstacles that people face when they are back in society. The pressures and everything. But I could do more. I try to lead by example. I think that's the best thing to do is to lead by example, but you also have to be involved. You know what I mean? And I think that I was driving today. I was driving today, and I saw plenty of young men. Young men. I have no idea what that. Like one, I stopped to give me some tacos. Like I want to tell you, if you're in Rockford, Illinois, the best place to go get some tacos is right here on Auburn Street, in front of the Dollar General, where Levels, the Secretary of State, place. They have the best tacos that I think that I have ever tasted. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would never lie. I would. I would. But yeah, they got the best tacos that I've tasted. But anyway, it was a young man out there asked for some change or whatever. I gave him some change, and then I thought it was him and another young man, and they may just be out there hustling. But I'm wondering what they're hustling for. Like, hopefully, they're not getting it to get any drugs or stuff like that. But I couldn't help but wonder if they needed, you know what I mean, uh, some guidance or mentor, someone that's like a god uncle, big brother, or whatever. You know what I mean? And I see these groups all the time, but you just never know. I think uh, the problem is I don't know how to approach the situation. Maybe someone viewing at some point can help me. Give me an idea of how to approach the youth in my community to offer, um, and then maybe what do I offer? I wanted to get a summer camp going. Have the community garden, show them how to garden, get into the content creation so they can learn how to earn money doing content. Um, then a number of other things. I wanted to, like I said, the community garden, show them how to do content, and just have like awareness sessions. I think it's important to sit down with the youth because I've sat with adults who still deal with issues from when they were younger. Whether it was parents on drugs, violence in your home, peer pressure, gang violence. That's what the youth are dealing with, and I think a lot of them don't have the proper outlets uh, to talk about those issues. You know what I mean? And so I definitely want to. I definitely want to somehow reach the youth. I'm going to eventually do it. But anyway, for those who watch the live, thank you. I appreciate it. It's going to get better. I promise. I'm going to eventually be able to. I'm going to get everything ordered. It's just that I'm moving very very quickly to get other things done and I'm trying to make sure that I stay consistent doing the live. So even if I'm not prepared or whatever the case may be, I'm still going to show up every week, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here. You're going to see it on Facebook. I'm going to be on YouTube. You can catch it on YouTube, either one of my YouTube channels, the Up to Skull Media Group or the OC Street File, and on Facebook, even though me and Facebook are not in the best space right now. Yeah, Facebook kind of got me messed up, you know. But yeah, so I'm going to be here every week, Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, the OC Street Files Live. I'm always going to have these different. I thought that amputee story was just crazy. So I'm always going to have these different topics and stuff for you. And feel free to leave a comment. I would love to get your views on anything that I talk about. Yeah. So I think we will call it one for the night. Did a good 30-minute show. Might have been longer if we had a co-host, but we're not tripping. We're going to keep this thing moving, keep it going. I'm trying not to leave while anyone's here. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Kind of came a little bit too late. The show starts at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sunday. So show up at that time and I will be here. All right. God loves you and I do too. Y'all enjoy your week.